Okay, folks, and we are live. Welcome to Swing Trading Today. This is Bob Desmond, and it is 7 a.m. Thursday, July the 22nd. And before we get into the charts, let's talk about tonight. It's Thursday night. If it's Thursday night, you know that it's Thursday Night Stock Charts Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube. Smash that bell and like button. Join us. Get alerted 15 minutes to a half hour prior to us going live by entering your email address below in any one of those opt-in email lists. Just enter it once, though, please, and you'll get alerted quickly when we go live. Let's talk about the pre-market activity first. I do have a chart request to get to for fellow member Franklin. He's looking for me to go over the SMH, the semiconductor ETF. We'll get to that near the end. But first, let's talk about gold, because it's very strange, the price action here on gold. You know, yesterday you had the dollar really taking on the chin. Here's a quick peek at the US dollar yesterday, and it got hammered. Yet gold, which it generally trades inversely of, declined. The gold stocks did great. Silver stocks did great. Silver did great. Gold, not so much. We remain range-bound. And we're threatening a bit of a breakdown. And what I'm worried about here on this daily chart, when I woke up earlier, we were up on the dollar. And now we are down. And all we've seen is weakness, going back to gold, weakness in gold. Very strange. Let's go to a 15-minute chart to compare apples to apples. We have bounced off the lows. Are we setting up on this 15-minute chart a higher low? And that's just a question that needs to get asked before we breathe a sigh of relief and look for opportunity to go adding more to our precious metal trade. Now, I was listening to Jordan earlier. I read an article from Jordan over at the Daily Gold, who's got a pretty good video commentary, and I may try to get him on for an interview. Video commentary about gold comes out, I don't know, once a month or so, and he thinks that there's probably going to be a pullback, not so much on gold, but probably on gold, of another 10% on the GDX and the GDXJ stocks. I don't know if I agree with that. I'd really like to hear more of his logic. He wasn't too elaborate on what he was looking for. It was more so generalities in terms of historical support levels. I've got plenty of them I'm looking at that I could defend an argument for a support level being defended here. And I did so the other day, not yesterday, the day before. I'm swing trading today. And yesterday you saw a big pop-up higher. In fact, we added more to our silver mining trade the day before yesterday, and we saw a big move up higher, about 4% yesterday. So one day doesn't make a trend. You know, for all I know, Jordan's right. He's pretty good. But gold here, struggling 15-minute time frame. Going back to the dollar for a moment. This is very critical if you're trading precious metals to identify where the dollar is going. And you can see here on the Dixie, we're back positive yet again. A bit of a volatile session here. Strange. So let's go back to a 4-hour chart, get that macro higher level view of where we're at rather than a 15-minute chart. We're not day traders here. So obviously defense of the 92.768 mark on the dollar Dixie basket. We did try to break out yesterday, and I warned. This is why I drew this yellow line here. I warned of a potential top here on the dollar, at least short term. Good morning, Sam. Hello, Big Bob. I actually dropped 4 pounds. I'm so proud of myself. So the dollar defending support here. I think that we could head lower on the dollar. We should head lower given the spending and the continued printing of the U.S. dollar. But I'll let the Forex traders decide that. taking a look at, let's stick with commodities for a moment. Oil very strong this morning, up a percentage point, but at resistance. So traders out there, if you're looking to buy oil, remember you're right at a resistance level at around 71.10. Moving on to nat gas, which is having a really, really good week. We have been bullish on natural gas for over a month now. And that's because of the macro breakout on a weekly and a monthly chart. And that trade is still very early in what I believe to be a big move higher on natural gas, assuming that the economy doesn't fall apart. We're down on the session by a quarter percentage point, but on a 4-hour time frame, look at this. We're flirting here with a breakout. We're doing so right now. This 4-hour bar closed at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see what happens. But it looks very strong, very positive. We did the dollar. We did light sweet. Let's go to equities. Equities, S&P 500 E-minis. They are up this morning. Now, I did market wrap last night with members, and, markets rarely, absent a binary event, a geopolitical event, such as COVID, rarely just go rolling over. Normally, it's a process, a multi-day, multi-week process. In the case of the small caps, you could argue if we do roll over, it's a multi-month process. Now, we are obviously well off the lows of the week, but we're near all-time highs, but we haven't broken out yet. So what to do at this juncture? Absolutely nothing. Do you go shorting? I wouldn't. Not yet. Do you go buying? I wouldn't. Not yet. The test is always at the top. Do we break out or do we break down? Anything that you do right here, right now, you have to have a lot of confidence in the fact that the market's going to move well beyond the current valuations. And if you're going to short into this strength, you have to have a lot of confidence that this market is going down, because you're flirting with a breakout to new all-time highs. So in a case like this, all we want to do is take our crayon out and do as we always do. Don't hope when we should fear. Watch for either a failure, meaning a rollover and a failure to make new all-time highs. And then we want to know, do we break down below? If we do fail, do we break down below the lows of the week? Because if we do, that means that we have a strong probability of a double top and a continuation breakdown to new lower lows, and that means the path of least resistance has now changed from up to down, at least in the very short term, because we're using a 4-hour and daily chart to identify any rollover. So right here, right now, what are we doing? Nothing. We're buying what's on sale right now. Gold stocks are on sale. Silver stocks are on sale. They're not probing all-time highs. They pulled back off their highs. They're consolidating now. But equities, they're flirting with all-time highs. So I prefer not to gamble at this point in time. Looking at the small caps, we defended this lower band of support, which we've been in this trading range for months. We do have a short position on. We did not add to it out of fear. This support level would hold. It would get defended. In fact, I said that on Swing Trading today, that this would get defended. We would probably get a rally back. But the question is, do we fail? And at that point in time, I drew this resistance level to identify prior peaks to see whether or not we would break out. And we did, above this secondary downtrend line. The question is now, do we break out and above resistance up here in yellow at around, let's call it 2266 on the E-mini Russell 2000 futures. This morning we were up over a quarter percentage point, But volumes yesterday across the board rolled in a lot lighter, except for the Dow Jones, which rolled in respectably, blah, 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 respectably. I can't say that word this morning. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Same conversation here with regard to the NASDAQ as we're going to have with the other equity, or as we had with the other equity indexes. We're probing higher highs here, but keep in mind, we were in a nice uptrend channel here since early May. In fact, let's extrapolate this out. And there you have it. And that channel broke here last Thursday. And I warned, watch for a rally back, watch for an effort to recapture, and if it fails, we're going to sell off hard, and that's exactly what we did. Now we've bounced back, we're stair-stepping higher. Now what we're looking for, if we do break, is, of course, the initial break of this lower band of support here. But ultimately, where I already have an alert set is a break to new lower lows. Let's colorize this. And if we fail to break out and we do break down to new lower lows, expect program selling. It's going to get vicious. So the NASDAQ up 0.16% this morning. What else we want to take a look at here? You know, Netflix yesterday, we may get short of this. They reported disappointing earnings. They did bounce back off of a major, it was nearly a 2 standard deviation sell-off on earnings, and then they rallied it back. But ultimately yesterday, Netflix succumbed to sellers, and it looks as though what we're going to do here, or what we are doing, is we are forming a bear flag setup. And this is indicative of simply a counter trend move, or a dead cat bounce is probably more appropriate. Then we'll probably get a breakdown to new lower lows. And this is a perfect candidate for a bear put spread, buying it. And there you have it. You can see lower highs, lower lows. We were in a trading range. The trading range is now broken. And the path of least resistance appears to me now to the downside for Netflix. So be careful here in probing, buying the proverbial dip on Netflix. You may get burned. Let's check back in with gold really quick. Yeah, still really weak here. The dollar back negative again. A lot of volatility on the Dixie today. Really struggling to hold gains. And this all makes sense, honestly. You know, we've seen the yen pick up strength. Sam, you're out there. You know better than anybody else about the euro. What's going on over there? The euro, 4-hour time frame. What we're looking at, Sam, I would like to know how those people are trying to sell fake news like everything is okay with oil price. The more oil is high, the more solar roof will soar, especially here in Europe. Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt higher oil prices are definitely great for alternative energy stocks. I agree with you there. So, you know, the The euro is firming up here. We've stopped going down. We have yet to break out. But if we do get a breakout here, that's going to be very bearish for the US dollar. Taking a look at the yen. These are the two largest components that trade against the US dollar. The yen was rallying, but it has since pulled back. And broken support on a 4-hour time frame. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. The reason why I spend so much time, folks, on currencies is because it really influences, wow, weekly chart, yen, no bueno, man. Really, really poor price action here. It needs a bounce quickly. Let's take a look at the euro. Weekly chart. Stabilizing. I think the euro in the coming weeks is going to make a run. And if you get, even if the yen doesn't participate, the franc, the other stocks, currencies, the pound rallying, that could offset the weakness in the Japanese yen. Let's look at this weekly chart of the S&P 500. Beautiful chart, really beautiful. A candlestick so far, but 2 trading days left to go. A lot can happen here, right? So the weekly chart of the S&Ps look really, really good, setting up for a major breakout. However, 2 trading days left to go. A tremendous amount can happen between now and the end of business on Friday. Hey, Larry, no, they're still working on it, man. Still working on it. I haven't been able to make a payment information. Yeah, I know it. I know it. I'm sorry. But you're still getting the updates, right? Last I looked, you were still on the list. I'm not worried about the payments on my end. I just care if you guys are getting service. It's not your fault that that the website's not working. So for those folks looking to join up, I know there's issues with the sign up page. It's been quite the past couple of months, and I think it got backburned by my developer for a larger project. This is more of a maintenance issue, in his mind anyway. No market wrap? All right, I'm going to check the list to see if you're on it. I'll add you back in. I'll shoot it out to you, Larry. In fact, I'll email it out to you right after this commentary. All right, let's cut this short so I can get that out. I want to talk a bit about trading in Chinese-based companies, folks. I've always been an advocate of not buying Chinese-based, whether they be Hong Kong or mainland China-based equities, and those concerns. And there were conspiracy theorists at the time when I first started having my concerns. But now it's evident that they don't care about the investors. They just want the dollars that come with shares going public in the United States. They just want to take our dollars. So they continue to ratchet up their war against Didi, which just went public a few days ago, and they knew. Remember, nothing happens in mainland China without the Communist Party knowing about it. They went public on the 29th of June. Soon thereafter, the Chinese government, the CCP, waged war on Didi. And now they're looking to Beijing preparing unprecedented sanctions for Didi, including possible delisting. I'm looking not at buying these shares on any dip. I'm looking at this. At what point in time do people want to short mainland China? And it's starting to become attractive. Yang, which is a leveraged ETF, putting you short of mainland China, putting in higher lows now, but just stuck at resistance here. So while I'm not saying it's time to go buying this, there's going to come a point where regulators are going to have to protect, unless this country's just so far gone now, because these companies are not held to the same standards, the same accounting standards as U.S.-based companies. But there's going to have to come a point in time where the SEC steps in and says, you know what, no mas here, and take really decisive action, because this is devastating to the small investor, the fact that the Chinese government is doing this. In fact, it's insider trading, in my opinion. They're taking the U.S. dollars in, but then they know on the back end, hell, I would be shorting the stock where I am, because knowing how they can manipulate the stock immediately after the stock goes public, they'll make more money on the short side than they would on the long side. So watch out for these mainland Chinese-based companies. It's only getting worse out there. So for Franklin, SMH, we're still down on the month. We did put in a new monthly high. Let's watch for a breakout to a new monthly high here. That would be a very bullish event, because you could argue that that we've been stuck in a trading range here, a pretty wide one, for several months. Weekly chart. Now, last week we did break down on the SMH below this lower band of support. And folks, I'm using TrendSpider automated trend lines, 35% discount code below. And yes, you get seasonality as well. We'll check out seasonality in a couple of seconds. We broke down below the lower band of support. This week, a nice bounce back, but we have yet to recapture prior support. And in fact, it's probably going to act as resistance. So just keep in mind that we have resistance immediately above. What was support is now resistance. Daily chart. A really strong move yesterday, ripping through not one volume shove, but two, and closing that. Very, very bullish price action on a daily time frame. The only note of warning I'll add on a daily chart, and not that it's horrible, it's not. We still saw good volume yesterday, but volume is dropping off a bit, but it's still meeting the moving average, so really not much to worry about. Let's take a look at seasonality going back 13 years. July, we are up generally 69% of the time, and that drops off in August to being up 55% of the time. So we're nearing a time frame where it's not the best seasonally to go entering this trade. You'd really, for a seasonality trade, want to look at the depths of January to enjoy the February ride up higher, or the depths of September to enjoy the October through November rally higher. But absent seasonality, this chart is looking pretty strong here, and I would argue that we'd probably see more upside. But again, I'll take you back to in fact, we're going to do this. I'm going to overlay the weekly chart on top of a daily chart, and it should show resistance above. Why is it not? I set up an alert there. Let me get rid of it. That's right. Let's go to the weekly chart. Oh, no, I didn't set up an alert. This is a manually drawn line. That's why it's not showing up. So the automated trend lines aren't going to do it. Just keep in mind that you have resistance immediately above, right at, let's call it 259 per share. We closed yesterday out at 257, so not much upside here before you start hitting what was the prior upper band of, the prior lower band of support is now going to act as resistance on a weekly time frame. And with that, folks, everybody have a really solid, profitable trading day. If you could smash that like button, I'd appreciate it. And join us tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the closing, the weekly chart price action on the markets, and it'll give us an idea of how we're about to close out the week. So again, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us tonight. See you there. Be well.